Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hello, fine folks. This is Freedom Fighter, and today is Wednesday, September the 11th, 2024. I am your host of Goldilocks Global Banking News, your number one source of global facts on the RVGCR, preparing you for your exchange in this wealth transfer that you were born to participate in. I had my morning briefing with Goldilocks, and Goldilocks reminded me of several weeks ago when Goldilocks shared that Iraq and the United States are moving together lock, step, and key on key regulations for their banking system in Iraq and our banking system in the U.S. Those regulations are registered in the Federal Register that Goldilocks shared with us. Now today Goldilocks is sharing that Iraq and the U.S. are walking lock, step, and key on something else so amazing and powerful connected to the global currency reset. What Iraq and the U.S. are doing is securing their borders with digital technology connected to the quantum financial system. So, let's jump right into the information that Goldilocks is sharing today. First, on the Department of Commerce. The Department of Commerce, remember, Iraq has been meeting with our Department of Commerce as well. But the Department of Commerce, there's an interim rule and a request for comments that folks, actually, this rule went into effect this month on September the 6th. It is the Bureau of Industry and Security is implementing export controls on several semiconductor, quantum, and additive manufacturing items for national security and foreign policy reasons. Export controls are federal laws that regulate the transfer of goods, technology, and services from the United States to foreign countries, entities, or persons. These laws are designed to protect U.S. national security, foreign policy, and economic interests. Export controls can apply to the following sensitive technologies, equipment, software, biological agents, and related data services. Some reasons for export controls include to protect the U.S. economy, to protect trade, to protect and prevent the export of items that could be diverted from their intended use. This is speaking of border to border, nation to nation. This is why Goldilocks says, watch the water. This is where our currencies, ladies and gentlemen, will begin to organically move up and the real values be set upon them. Because when Goldilocks says, watch the water, it's in reference to the trade on the water, on the shipping ports, where countries ship goods and services across the water. Thereby the currencies of those countries, whether it's the dinar, whether it's the bolivar, whether it's the dong, whether it's the USD, whether it's the rupiah, each country's currencies, folks, as they move across the water in trade, those currencies begin to raise in value. As before, for example, in Iraq, it was strictly the US dollar. As of January this year, it's now the dinar. Many countries around the world are ditching the US dollar for their own currencies, and every country around the world are connecting their ports to a digital system that allows the real values to be placed on our currencies with no longer human manipulation taking control at the ports. Yes, many ports around the world, especially Iraq, when they were shipping goods and services to and from other countries, it was settled manually by hand. Billions of dollars on the ports where humans were counting billions of dollars by hand, not digital. They were in the Stone Ages. Goldilocks continues, we are aligning ourselves with trusted partners, meaning the US is aligning ourselves with trusted partners and adopting new emerging technology controls with this new rule that's implemented into the Federal Register. It should make our trade with other countries run more smoothly, faster, and safer, now connecting onto the quantum financial system. This rule took effect September the 6th. In the Federal Register, you will see there's a link in the description. You can see it for yourself. Now, Goldilocks shares with the United States Customs and Border Protection. This was on September the 3rd, and this is a new rule. The agency, which is the Customs and Border Protection, is doing something that Iraq and their Customs and Border Protection are doing the same thing. This is from the United States. A 60-day notice was given on September the 3rd, which starts the process of comments that will lead to a final rule on the date provided below. The Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection will be submitting the following information collection requests to the Office of Management and Budget for review and approval in accordance with the Paperwork Reduction Act. Listen, the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1955. Here we have a rule, the Paperwork Reduction Act of 1955. Think reducing paper and moving to. Think removing the manual labor of paperwork and moving to a digital way of conducting trade on our ports. Iraq is doing the same thing this month. Agency information collection activities is a certain term that refers to the collection of information by a federal agency. The Paperwork Reduction Act requires agencies to justify information collections to the Office of Management and Budget. Folks, the Office of Management and Budget here in the United States is the federal CPA, if you will. It's a budget arm whereby all federal agencies, their monies are under the control of the Office of Management and Budget. Global interoperability standards is important because of what takes place inside the quantum financial system. Interoperability of digital currency networks, also known as blockchain interoperability, is the ability of different blockchain networks to communicate. Think the blockchain network in Iraq communicating with the blockchain network in the United States. Think the blockchain network in the United States connecting with the blockchain network in Vietnam, Venezuela, or any and every country around the world. This allows for the transfer of assets across blockchains without the need for a centralized exchange or intermediaries. What are intermediaries? Those humans with two legs that are on the ports collecting data information by hand. It's going out the window, folks, especially in Iraq. The exchange of computer information of different digital currency networks across the globe could facilitate adoption and reduce cross-border transaction costs in global commerce, such as foreign currency exchanges. Comments are expected to be submitted by November the 4th, 2024, and it'll be registered in the Federal Register. Goldilocks continues. As you can see from today's information, we are securing our borders through quantum technological advances and copyright laws that can be traced if certain levels of information is breached in another country. Just imagine what it would do to the value of the dinar if Iraq is shipping goods and services to the United States and we are shortchanging them. Just imagine if they ship, let's say if it's $10 billion worth of goods and services and they're expected to get paid 10 billion or more and they're paid 3 billion. This technology prevents that, and that would be a major blow to the value of the dinar. This is all part of securing the new quantum financial system, Goldilocks says. It outlines the importance of trade with other countries and the importance of building relationships with trusted partners that can now be evaluated beyond the human scope of experience. We are now using quantum technology to determine the ability to trade with countries whose security levels allow them to do so. Goldilocks finalizes by saying, when you take a look at today's articles, you will notice similar parallels to what Iraq is doing with their new digital custom security mechanisms. Folks, this month, the month of September, and there is a link in the description to show and prove it to you, Iraq will complete their final phase of connecting their ports to the quantum financial system, the digitizing of their ports, just like the United States is doing, just like the United States has announced. And it'll be registered into the Federal Register. Iraq is doing the same thing at their ports. Remember, the dinar, the value of it, with goods and services being shipped around the world, will no longer be manipulated, will no longer be shortchanged. Why? Because the digitization of the ports. The digitization of the ports, folks, is connecting their ports to the quantum financial system, where real values will be placed upon the dinar. Real values will be placed upon the dong, the bolivar, the rupiah, the USD. Why is it that Iraq and the United States are doing the same thing at the same time? Connecting their ports to the quantum financial system, implementing regulations relevant to the quantum financial system, the regulations for the banking system in Iraq, the regulations for our banking system here in the U.S., recorded in the Federal Register. Goldilocks continues, the Federal Register has set in motion a new rule that is becoming law regarding customs and trade. This is our borders, folks, whereby in Iraq, like I mentioned, they were used to collecting billions and billions of dollars manually and settling those trades manually. This is one of the many reasons why the devaluation of the dinar has left them in the situation they are in. But in as well, we are shifting to, and Iraq is shifting to, the quantum financial system on their borders and at their ports in order to bring real values to the Iraqi dinar. And think about it. The countries around the world who are connected as well are doing the same thing. But here we have the United States and Iraq both securing their borders onto the quantum financial system to bring real values. This month, and again, the link is in the description, this month, September 2024, Iraq is completing their phase 2. So they've already completed phase 1. They are completing their phase 2 of connecting their ports to the quantum financial system. Beautiful, amazing, momentous occasion what Iraq is doing. For those that don't know, this system is connected to the United Nations, whereby all countries around the world, all ports. So just think of all the countries around the world that Iraq does trade with, all connected to the same system, digital system within the quantum financial system. Think seamless, think connectivity, think no longer having human manipulation on the value of these currencies, ladies and gentlemen. If you have questions, come into the Goldilocks QFS Dialogues room. This is amazing. Also, the link is in the description for your own use to check out for yourself. We love you. We appreciate you. Stay kind. Stay on purpose. Be in unconditional love. Ciao. Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.